morning. Thank you, Louis. And I'm here to give you a little bit more detail on the products. I could spend hours and you still would have questions, and that's why we have the breakout sessions later today. And then I'm sure after you go to the breakout sessions, you're going to learn even more. And you want to be able to touch the products and the new technology. So please stop by and see us at IBC over the next few days so you can really learn about what we've been doing and the innovation that has been happening. Louis had a great picture of the tech tornado. Really, it's the complexity of dealing with all these different formats, all these different technologies, SD, HD, high-res, 4K, tape archives, what's here today and what's coming tomorrow. And that's really when we think about the platform. What we want to do is free you up to do the creative work and the creative storytelling that you do and help you save time and money, and most importantly, don't have your most important assets, people, working on unnecessary tasks. And Louis had mentioned this concept of resolution independence, and it was interesting when we were thinking about how do we name this and what do we call it. You know, you think about things like, well, we should call it 4K or we should call it high resolution. And really the reason that resolution independence came and we landed on that, it's the freedom that we want to give you. And it's the freedom of choice. You think about what we want to do with resolution independence is we want to free you from, for example, things like bandwidth. How do you deal with higher resolution media today in your existing infrastructure? We can do that with resolution independence. Deal with multiple formats. Maybe in the same program you have to deal with the newest formats, 4K, SD, HD. How do you do that in a way that's simple and integrated? That's the freedom of resolution independence. Standards are changing. What's coming tomorrow, we don't know. But if you build it on a platform's way, then that freedom allows you to adopt those new technologies when they come without having to change anything. And most importantly, and I think the thing that Louis pointed out, which is critical, how do we integrate your entire workflow? It's not about giving you the capability in one product or one technology. It's about allowing you to start from when you bring that media in until you distribute it and have that freedom of choice throughout the workflow. And that's resolution independence. And the other key point is, no matter what you choose and how do you choose your workflow, at the end, you sacrifice no image quality. We like to say you get every pixel back. So even if you choose to use proxy-based workflows in the middle of your workflow, at the final output, you still conform to that original source media. And that's resolution independence. And maybe the best way to explain some of the new products and modules that we're introducing, I'll take you through a quick workflow at a high level of maybe a post-production workflow and how what we're introducing today gives you that independence across the various modules. So let's start with acquisition. And Louis had mentioned that we're coming out with a new version of Media Composer that supports native 4K. So clearly with Media Composer now, we can bring that media in, allow you to bring it in dynamically in the background, make copies, create whatever high-res format you work with internally. We can work with the native media right out of the gate. You can start editing. We can automate the transcoding, again, as I mentioned, into whatever editorial-friendly format you want, whatever proxies you want. So with Media Composer, you start with the native media, start editing right away. In the background, create whatever other formats you need to make your process more efficient. And then with Media Director, the product we announced at NAB, it now supports high resolution. So if you want to bring in server-based in your entire facility, you can do that with Media Director. It's part of the platform. It's now benefiting with our introduction of resolution independence. So no matter how you get your media in, whether it's through simple Media Composer or through things like Media Director, you can bring it on the platform, you can work with it in the format that makes most sense for you, and do that work in a consistent way. And that's the first part of it, which is the acquisition. Clearly with editorial, lots of customers want to work natively, and that's what we're introducing with Media Composer today. Before, we let you work with 4K media in Media Composer, but in proxy-based and using HD as the monitoring format. Today, we allow you to have full 4K monitoring. Through our OpenIO, we support a number of vendors' 4K monitoring solutions. So you can link to and play and monitor full high-res media. Of course, we allow you to extract HD frames from that with frame frame flex and manage your color space with our color space conversion tools, so you can take that high-res media and effectively repurpose it for HD output. And of course, we give you choice. You can use this capability in your own facility, or with things like Media Composer Cloud, we let you get remote access. And so with Media Composer Cloud, remotely, you can now edit, if you choose to, 4K media anywhere in the world. That's the benefit of resolution independence. We give you that independence also on the editorial side. And of course, when you're done, you have to be able to get your content out. So the distribution phase of post-production. Clearly, again with Media Composer, we now support the export of high-res. So from within Media Composer, if you want to, you can take your final sequence and conform it and get high-res out. And of course, if you use some proxy format inside of Media Composer, we can relink dynamically. That's one of the benefits of Media Composer to the original source material. And as I said before, you get every pixel back. So no matter if you choose 4K throughout the workflow or just 4K at the end, at conform, you get the same pixels back without worrying about having to have a native 4K workflow throughout your entire production facility. Again, the benefit of resolution independence is have the resolution where you want it, when you want it, without being the slave to having to have it everywhere. And coming soon, we'll be delivering with our Media Distribute product the ability to automate the distribution of 4K or high-res format throughout your entire workflow. So at NAB, we announced Media Distribute, the ability to automate multi-platform, multi-channel distribution, and soon we'll be supporting high-res with that product as well, because it's part of the platform. So hopefully you can see, even though we just recently introduced things like Media Distribute, Media Director, just a few months later, because they're part of the platform, as we add support for things like resolution independence, those products get it. So if you're on the platform today and you're using those products, simply upgrade to the next version and you have those new capabilities. And anything else that's plugged into the platform has those capabilities. And that's the power of the platform, and hopefully you can see the power of what resolution independence means. Yep, it shows up in products, but most importantly, it's connected through the workflow because those products are all connected to the platform. Native 4K, we talked about it already. It's huge in terms of bandwidth utilization. So your existing storage infrastructure, existing network infrastructure is taxed when you want to use 4K. So there's got to also be a better way to have the beautiful 4K imagery, but have lighter bandwidth requirements. And so what we're also announcing today is DNX HR, which is our high resolution version of our DNX codec, which produces virtually lossless images at very high resolution. And the other thing that's very powerful about it, you can create multiple bit rates, so you have the flexibility of choosing what's right for you in your environment, from very lightweight proxies all the way to what we believe are visually lossless mastering resolutions. Clearly, if you choose to use this, at the end, you can also link back to the native media and have essentially get every pixel back. The other thing that's powerful about this, if you're already using DNX HD in your facility and your HD capable facility, this is a great way to slot in higher resolution media into your existing infrastructure using HD as your monitoring solution, but at the end have a very efficient way to get out high resolution content. So this is DNX HR, which again is connected to the platform. So anything on the platform now has access to this new format. And again, it's an extension. We're in the process of getting this extension standardized. It's just an extension to the existing DNX standard. And as Louis had mentioned, we built this in such a way that tomorrow, when whatever new format comes out, whatever new resolution comes out, simply by adding that capability to the platform, it's now available, whether it's on the acquisition side, the editorial side, the distribution side, wherever it is in that production chain. And we don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I will tell you, because there's an insatiable demand from consumers and there's an insatiable appetite in our industry to create new stuff, something will change tomorrow. There'll be new technologies coming tomorrow, and what you don't want to have to do is start again every time somebody introduces a new technology. And that really is the power of the platform. It's the power of how we're proceeding with resolution independence, and how we hope you see that it's not just about one product, it's really about a solution that spans an entire workflow. And this is AVID everywhere. And it's great that we've taken all of our products, we've adapted it to resolution independence, we've put them on the platform, but now you say, I use other things other than AVID. So how do you help me with that? How do you make my life easy for the other things the other technology I use from the other vendors? And this is what Louis talked about when we talk about the connectivity toolkit and the marketplace. This is how we help the rest of the world connect to your environment to make your lives a lot easier. And our industry today is served by over 1,500 vendors. And today, AVID has integration with more than 600 of those vendors. And we've accomplished this in what I call a point-to-point integration. And typically it happens, we have a customer that has a product from another company and they say, you got to make it work with AVID, so they call us up and we have this point-to-point integration that solves one problem, and a lot of times that one problem for that one customer. And then every time you change something, or we change something, or that third party change something, we break it. And then we got to start all over again. And as Louis said, we all point fingers, and it's their fault, it's our fault, it's your fault. And there is a better way, and it's the platform approach. How do you connect in a consistent way so that anything that connects to the platform is now certified and it works with anything else connected to the platform? So instead of creating this point-to-point connection, create a connection to the platform, and then everything else that gets connected to that platform is in definition connected and works together, and you get this exponential benefit because the more that gets connected, the more value you can extract from the platform. And that's really all around the connectivity toolkit. And the big difference is, and again, it's important to note the differences, is number one, we have a common methodology for getting things connected. But more importantly, we provide the training and certification for those that want to get onto the platform. So for the developers out there, we have training on how to do it in an efficient way so they know the best way to work with AVID and work with our technology. Before, we used to throw them some documentation if there was any, or maybe an API, and said, good luck, you're on your own. Now what we do is provide the training so that when they start to do their work, they're more educated. And secondly, and as importantly, when they're done, we take whatever they create and we certify it, we verify it, we run our own test suites against it to make sure that it works correctly, so that it plugs into the platform. And then we make it easy for our customers through the marketplace to get access to technology. So you know it's there. An easy place to go purchase it, to find updates, a way to interact with the community so that you know how to make your environment much more flexible. And what we want to talk about today are some of our first partners that we've taken through this process. They've helped us create it, modify it, and make it better. And what I want to do is take you through today a little bit of what is involved in becoming a partner, and then at the end we'll talk about some of our partners. So we did announce this thing called the Connectivity Toolkit at NAB, Louis had mentioned about 5 months ago. And what we're announcing today is our developer portal or development center, how we allow our partners to more effectively connect to us. So we now have a portal, a place where you can go to find out everything about the Connectivity Toolkit. You get access to our documentation, updated APIs. This information is now available to anybody. And by the way, you can get access to this information before you're certified. You can decide whether or not you want to build an integration. You can go look, see what we have, get plugged into our environment, if you will, through the developer portal. We built a streamlined way if you now want to become a certified developer. We have an online mechanism where you can register to become a certified developer. You're now part of the community. We'll offer you training, support, all the things that are necessary, because I know my team has its own challenges in doing development. And when you're developing against somebody else's technology, how do you get help? How do you get questions answered? So we'll be monitoring the forums, and all of our community will be monitoring the forums, helping streamline that process to get partners from an idea to a certified solution that will help you. As I mentioned, we've been working pretty hard since NAB, not only on our technology around the connectivity toolkit, resolution independence, but we're working with quite a few partners. And what I'd like to do today is talk about a few of those that you'll see at the show here, and you'll be able to go to their booth or our booth and take a look at what we've done in terms of bringing them onto the platform and what kind of capabilities and power this extends to you and our community. The first one is Telestream. I'm sure a lot of you know who they are. They're an industry leader in transcoding and workflow automation. And we built an integration, or they built an integration, into our Media Distribute products. As I mentioned before, we introduced this thing at NAB called Media Distribute, which allows you to take content and repurpose it for different channels, different platforms. And that's what we've done with Telestream. Now one of the targets is Telestream. So if you have Media Distribute today and you're a Telestream customer, we've now made that linkage. And the thing that's really cool about it is when we started the work with Telestream, as you can imagine, we hadn't had resolution independence done. We were working on it. And now that Telestream's part of the platform and we have resolution independence, they now have access to all of that as well. So now that integration has access to higher resolution content than was available in the platform yesterday. And it just comes because they're part of the connectivity toolkit. So as we move the platform forward, the benefit of those that have already made the connection to the platform, they receive that benefit as well. So if you're on the platform, as we move forward, you get the benefit, and as our partners are on the platform, they get the benefit as well. And so now you can output to other formats that Telestream supports, like YouTube and OVPs like Brightcove, directly from the Media Composer, or excuse me, the Media Central user interface. If you're familiar with Media Central, the user interface today for Distribute, and you go buy this connectivity extension, it now makes that seamless and integrated into the platform. So very, very cool, and we're excited about this. The other thing that we know, and we've heard this from everybody in the industry, nobody has one system that has all their assets in it. Everybody has at least two, and I would argue they have way more than two. And one of the things we announced, and Louis talked about, one of the very, very powerful things we're getting feedback from our customers is this thing called Media Index, the ability to search multiple repositories. Well, what customers have asked for is, we'll hook it up to non-AVID repositories. And as many of you know, Arvado Systems and their S4M product is another leader in digital asset management. They have their own repository. And it's been linked now to Media Index. So if you're familiar with Media Index and you do a search, you now can not just only search AVID repositories, but you can search the Arvado repository as if it was logically one. And all of those assets now are available to all the workflows that exist on the AVID platform. So with this integration now, anything that you had stored and have stored in the Arvado repository is now available in the exact same workflows you use today without any modifications. Very, very cool. And I think very, very powerful, and we'll be doing more and more as we move forward here. So again, as you can see, with an integration like this, we've now extended the capability without you having to change anything with a simple integration, and it's certified and it works. Make TV, a cool little company that allows you to create your own live programming. Another piece of technology that's been integrated to Media Index. So now you can exchange content in both directions, allowing you to have more access to more of your information in one central place, Media Index. So virtually one repository, even though you haven't moved anything. It's still in their environment, unless you want to pull it into, let's say, for example, our production workflow. So simply drag one of their pieces of content into interplay production, and magically, behind the covers, it's now available for those interplay production workflows. So you want to push it back, take it out, drag it and drop it back into their repository or their folder in the repository, and it's now back in Make TV's database. Simple but powerful integration. Kyron Hago, a leader in the graphics industry. How do they plug into our creative platform? One of the things we have is iNews. So we've created an integration, or Kyron Hago's created an integration with iNews, allowing their creative process to be integrated with our creative process, so that as you create your news stories, it now feels like it's all one thing. You haven't had to change your infrastructure with your graphics infrastructure. You haven't changed ours. You simply put a connection in the middle, and now they work seamlessly together. Apogee, for those of you that know, a leader in the audio I/O workspace, or I/O space. And this is a special partner. In fact, this is the first preferred partner. And the slight difference here with a preferred partner is we're actually going to market jointly with Apogee. And this is the Pro Tools Duet and Pro Tools Quartet product, which is a combination of Apogee I/O, Pro Tools, and some special sauce in the middle that connects it to the platform. Very, very powerful, as I mentioned before, the first of what we call a preferred partner, where we take that next step and simplify the go-to-market as well. And so these are available as of today, and you'll be hopefully seeing them on the show floor, and some very, very powerful capabilities that link Pro Tools, Apogee, and as Lewis had mentioned, our networked control surfaces through Yukon into one neat little platform. So this is the integration with Apogee. And this is AVID everywhere. So as you can see, it's not just about AVID innovating and creating things like resolution independence to make your life easier. It's about taking the partner community, and in some times our competitors, bringing them together and making your life easier, and hopefully allowing you to move more quickly, solving your real problems, which is creating content, and not having to spend a lot of time blaming vendors, pointing fingers, but really doing that creative storytelling. And so again, this is AVID everywhere. And as Lewis had mentioned, the other big announcement is about how do we accelerate our innovation on the services side. So I'd like to introduce Rick Lowenstein, who will take you through some of the details around what we're doing in services. Thank you.